On this episode of Tasty Treats with Teachers, Miss Johnson talks about her 20 cat dogs. She explains the horrors of the unknown to me. And we rate my cookies on the weirdest scale you've ever seen.
Hello and welcome to The Daily Show. Except it's not The Daily Show, it's Tasty Treats with Teachers. And we're not covering the recent events, we're talking to teachers. I'm your host, Ethan Faye, and speaking of day-to-day events, we have the lovely teacher, Miss Johnson here. Miss Johnson, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well myself. Okay, I'm excited for this. This is fun. This is the second episode of the Tasty Treats with Teachers. That is a mouthful. Tasty Treats with Teachers. Try saying that 10 times fast. Okay, let's start off with the first question. Who are you?
I am Miss Johnson. I am a biology teacher on campus. I've also taught AP Environmental and Environmental Science. I am a volleyball coach on campus. I head coach boys varsity and assist the girls varsity. I'm also the ASB teacher, so I teach the activities class. In my non-teaching life, I have a sister and a dad who I love a lot, and a dog and 2 cats who are my babies.
That's nice.
Yes.
That is a lot of things to teach.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been working at Mountain View?
So this is my 4th year teaching here, but I also did my student teaching here. So I've been at the school for 5 years, which is really, really fun. There's been a lot of the same teachers in the science department, and then also a bunch of new teachers, which is really cool. The influx has been nice. A lot of the new teachers are super nice and fun to work with, and then a lot of the veteran teachers have known me since I started, which is a cool experience.
Mm-hmm. Have you taught anywhere else?
I student taught at Columbia Middle School as part of my graduate school program, so I went to Stanford for my teaching credential, which is true of a lot of teachers in this area. I just started right away here.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
2 cats, 1 dog.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about them.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So my dog was a family dog. And then everybody moved and or got divorced, and so the dog ended up with me, which I love because she is the best. She's a white golden retriever. They call it English cream, which sounds super pretentious, but it's not.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. And she is just a sweetheart. She turned 10 recently. And so she's getting a little bit old, but because she's already white, you can't see it in her face. And I'm all, it's perfect. I don't know, I'm naive, it's fine. And then my 2 cats, I had a summer where I was working at a vet's office. Before teaching, I was trying to decide between becoming a vet and between becoming a teacher. So I worked for a year as a sub in the Pajaro Valley district, which is over by Watsonville. And then also worked as a vet. And applied to both and ended up getting both, which is kind of interesting, and then just ended up deciding teaching was my thing. But while I was working for the vet, there was a summer where our local shelters got super overwhelmed in Santa Cruz, and so I ended up fostering 20 kittens in one summer.
20 kittens?
It was a lot of kittens, and luckily the person I was living with, every time I brought new kittens home, was just like, okay, but they're cute. And I was like, sorry, here we are with all the kittens. And so 2 of the litters had moms, which is nice because moms do all the work. But then 2 of the litters I had to hand feed every 2 hours. Fun fact about kittens, when they're little, they don't know how to potty by themselves. Their moms lick them down there to potty them. So you have to take a wet towel and be like, I'm pottying the baby. Yeah, it was weird. It was awesome.
Sounds really weird.
Yeah, you feed them through little syringes. It's a whole thing, but they're very cute. Yeah, they don't even have ears yet because their fur is longer than their ears at that point. So they just have these little fluff heads.
It's so adorable.
So fun. So anyway, these were the last 2 kittens that I had out of the entire lot. I had adopted out all of them. I adopted them all out. Yeah, a lot of them went in pairs. People adopt cats in pairs a lot, especially if they're biologically related. People like to have sibling cats.
I have sibling dogs. So.
There you go, exactly. So these were the last 2, and I had named them, which was a mistake. One of them, right? One of them was named Mufasa because my sister has a Simba. The other one was named Potential, what we call him Po for short, because he was not supposed to make it. I got their litter when they were 2 days old. And the vet was like, this kitten is just too sick. You can try, but he's probably going to die. And I was like, okay, we'll try. And then we gave him medicine. He lived in my shirt pocket for 3 months. And because I was working at a vet, that was allowed. People would walk in and be like, and I'd be like, yeah, it's a kitten. Aww. He just borrowed my body heat. And he survived. And so, yeah, I credit my 5-year-old neighbor who was like, if we give him a winning name, he's gonna survive. And I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. And then he survived, and I was like, wow, 5-year-olds are magical. It's a thing.
Kitten savior.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I ended up with these 2 cats. We got down to the end, I had named them both, and I was like, nope, I want them both. So I kept them. But the funny thing was, because this litter didn't have a mom, she was raising them.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yes. Basically them crawling in and out of her tail. It's very cute.
So,
Yes.
cats or dogs? Which do you prefer?
Okay, I'll answer this in a non-biased way. My cats act like dogs because they were raised by a dog. But clearly that means I'm a dog person, right? Because my cats act like dogs and my dog acts like a dog, and that means the dogs, right?
Sure.
Yeah. If you ask my boys volleyball captain, Troy Kelch, if cats and dogs are the same animal, he says yes. So maybe this question is void anyway.
Wow, maybe cats are dogs.
That's what he thinks, I'm just saying. Anytime I ask him, hey, can we talk about something? He's like, can we talk about dogs? And I'm like, okay. Unrelated to volleyball at all, but we have to start every conversation with dogs.
I'm down. Yeah.
Right? Right? It's a better way to live.
You're right. Why don't we just all start talking about dogs?
Exactly.
Yeah. It sounds like you're big into movies and TV shows, am I right?
Yeah.
Because your nephew's name?
It's Ozzy.
Ozzy, as in Ozzy Osbourne, or Survivor. And you've named Mufasa. So, what is a movie that has stuck with you? It doesn't have to be your favorite. It could be your favorite movie, but what is a movie that you just absolutely love, like a guilty pleasure or something like that?
Have you seen She's the Man with Amanda Bynes?
I've not seen that movie.
Okay. Well, basic premise is it's a Shakespearean play, but adapted for the modern world.
I love those kinds of ones, like
Yes.
the one with Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
We all saw that in English class. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So yeah, it's like this girl who's pretending to be a guy who then falls for this guy who thinks she's a guy, and then it's a whole process. It's very fun.
Wow.
And there's soccer, and it's just like cute and funny. I like it a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hi. What about a TV show?
So right now, I guess what I'm watching is Lie to Me. It's an older show. I don't know why I just discovered it. It's basically the premise is this doctor is able to read people's facial micro expressions, and he can basically, like, he's a human lie detector.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, basically by reading your face, 70% of the time he can accurately tell if you're lying or not. And so he gets like recruited by the CIA to do like specific situations of,
Wow.
yeah.
Is it fiction or is it?
So yes, it is very clearly fiction, and they state that in the beginning, like this is not based on real events. But then in between each break, when they catch someone with a facial expression, they'll post like real life pictures of like political leaders making these same facial expressions, and you're like, okay, so it's fiction, but like not really. You know, like clearly people make these expressions a lot, and like some of them are like bad, like people getting caught in a lie and things like that. It's pretty funny.
Tell me about your tour to Galapagos, right?
Yes, so 3 summers ago, something like that. I'm part of a teacher fellowship called the Knowles Teacher Initiative. Basically, they bring science and math teachers from all around the country together to talk about like best practices for high school science and math teaching. And they write and accept our proposals for grants. And so a team of teachers got together and decided it'd be cool if we could go to the Galapagos and base a biology, like ecology or climate change unit around actual ecosystem-based things. And so I was responsible for videography. So I know your struggles with audio, I get it. And yeah, we basically just got to tour the Galapagos for like 10 days with guides who talked to us about giant tortoises and, you know, blue-footed boobies and like penguins, which non-Arctic penguins are really rare. And there's a ton in the Galapagos, which is cool.
Business news.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are you sticking microchips in tortoises?
So part of the grant that we got was to go with the National Forestry Service, more or less their equivalent of it. So we went out with park rangers who are tracking tortoises across the island to kind of monitor their movement. And so the way that they do it is they flip a tortoise on its back, they measure the shell, and then they insert a tracker on its leg, or into its leg, and then they flip it back over. And it's so funny because some of these tortoises are like 500, 600 pounds. And so the rangers are getting sticks and creating these like points of, and the physics teachers are going to be mad at me for saying this wrong, but I'm guessing points of, what are the words? Like a pulley system, basically, where you're creating less, like a fulcrum.
We'll go check this out afterwards.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. A fulcrum, I think, to move these tortoises over. But then you have to be careful to flip it back the same way, because tortoises have more empty space on their insides than humans do, because they don't roll around as much. So if you flip it the wrong way, their stomachs can actually get twisted, and then they die because they're not able to eat. So you have to flip it and then make sure you remember which way you flipped it, so you flip it back the same way. Friendly, like the bigger and older ones, because you used to be able to touch wildlife on the Galapagos. Like something like 50 years ago, they decided that was a bad idea because tourists and conservation. But prior to that, some of the tortoises, like they're called saddleback tortoises, if they have like a little seat, and kids used to race tortoises. And it's a tortoise that weighs more than the kid does, but you'd like hop on one and be like, my tortoise is moving. So we actually stayed at a campsite with a tortoise named Dora, and you're not allowed to touch them, but if you stand still, they'll come up to you and rub their heads against your leg.
It's so nice.
It's weird, because they're so, it's almost like ancient world looking. Like they look animatronic. They don't look real. Like their heads move in such a way, and you're like, I think that's alive. I'm pretty sure. But it was so sweet. They just want to be pet.
Galapagos tortoise, dog.
Exactly.
Cat.
All one animal.
It's the same animal, just different forms.
Exactly.
So you stated for a bit that you worked as a veterinarian.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It was really cool and interesting, and also definitely not for me, and definitely had its cons as well. It's really fun to be able to learn a lot more about like dog anatomy and cat anatomy, and learn how to work with different animals. You know, we would treat feral cats sometimes, and sometimes when you have to do that, you basically put them into an anesthetic box so that they will calm down enough so that you can actually like figure out the system with them. And then, yeah, with dogs, there's just a bunch of anatomy that I wasn't ever aware of. Like dogs need to be expressed sometimes. Like certain breeds, you have to. You're like, who knew? It's so interesting that there's just these things that you just, who knew? But then the hard part, right, is, you know, working at a vet, you get to see all the puppies with the puppy packages, but flip side, you also have euthanasias, which is just so hard, because everybody loves their dogs.
And it's
then,
such a sad moment.
yeah, we had a receptionist at the vet who used to bring in chocolate cake every Monday, and then if any dogs had to be put down, you'd offer to the owner, do you want them to have some chocolate before they go? And then it was a celebration that if we didn't have to use the chocolate cake, by the end of the week, the staff would eat it, because it was like, yay, we didn't have to do that this week. So that part was really tough, and also just heartbreaking, you know? So that, I think that in combination with the fact that, at least for me, I really value social interaction in my job. And when you're working on a surgery on a dog for 5 hours, you're like, I'm talking to my like vet who's performing the surgery and I'm assisting, but it's just a lot of their focusing and not a lot of interacting, which is kind of why I landed on teaching, was a better path for me.
Yeah. That brings me right to my next point. Why teaching?
I think it is, interacting with kids is so fun for me, and I love that my job right now allows me to interact in so many different ways. You know, ASB is basically event planning. Bio is the curiosity aspect of, I love when kids ask questions and I don't know the answer. We're like, well, let's go find out, right? And then in coaching, you get to foster a team dynamic where people feel very like included and brought into a space where we bond and we're working towards this goal together. And so really, I think for me, all of that is just dynamics and relationships with people. It's just so fun to learn about how people work together.
That That's really interesting.
Mm.
And I think that brings me to my next question, actually. Volleyball. Your major was biology. You worked as a veterinarian and a teacher. What do you do when teaching volleyball?
See, that's a great question. I was actually a junior Olympian when I was in high school.
What?
Yes, I got a bronze medal twice on my club team when I was in high school. So a lot of people, along with their high school season, also play club in volleyball if you're serious about the sport. And so I played for a local club. We traveled a lot, and we qualified for the Junior Olympics every year I was on the team. We medaled twice, so we were pretty decent. And I was being looked at by colleges, but at that point I had kind of burnt out on doing sports competitively. Partially because I had some coaches who were just way too hard on us, and partially because I had been doing it since I was 8. So I don't know which was the bigger contributing factor, but at least for me, that plays into my coaching philosophy a lot, which is basically just we're out here to accomplish a goal together while having fun.
Yeah.
It's so important to me that teams feel bonded, and obviously not every day is going to be fun, right? Like sometimes we got to suck it up and do something that's less fun in service of like getting better as a team. But in general, there are very few moments where I'm like, we can't find some fun in this moment. So
That's really nice.
yeah.
That's really nice, actually. Yeah, I have a personal philosophy of it requires me to do work, but sometimes it can be the teacher that makes or breaks the lesson. If I lived in England for a while, actually, if I did not have my teacher, Dr. Marks, she was my science teacher. If I did not have Dr. Marks, I would not be on the path that I am today.
Oh, wow.
She just inspired me so much, and I will forever thank her. So, Dr. Marks, if you're somehow watching this video, just know that this is you. This is your fault. You led me down this path. So in the email you sent me, you say that you enjoy basketball and you enjoy Klay Thompson. What is your fact, not opinion, on him?
Oh, he's the best player in the NBA, period. Full stop.
Why?
Because he is so good at two-way basketball, right? He is an ace at three-pointers, right? He's Stephen Curry caliber. He's more catch and shoot than ball handling, right? Steph Curry is the point guard, so he moves with the ball a lot more. Klay is just catch and release. But in terms of their percentages in their peak careers have been equally good at hitting three-pointers.
Oh.
And he is amazing on defense, which is the trade-off you get with Steph, right? Steph is an amazing three-pointer, but he's kind of a liability on defense because he's like just not as much body mass and muscle to get in front of people. Klay is kind of an Iron Man. He is both a fantastic shooter and gets back on defense and has some of the toughest defensive assignments for the Warriors as a guard, which is rare. So Klay all day. It's happening. He's the best. It's not open to interpretation or opinion, at least in my world.
I mean, okay. I don't know anything about basketball, so I will trust you. I guess Klay is my new favorite basketball player.
See, if you have any Warriors fans who are friends, they may get all up in your face about that, so tread lightly with that statement. But, I mean, at least for me, I'll back that up all day, every day.
On the topic of basketball and height,
Yes.
You knew this question was going to be coming.
Yes.
How do you feel being the shortest in your family, standing at 5'10"?
That's why I'm sitting in the tall chair right now.
I am 6'2", mind you.
Yeah, I'm the tall one. Yeah, my entire family is just giants, basically. My dad is 6'3", my mom is 6'1", my sister is 6'1". My stepbrothers are 6'3" each. And then my partner is 7 feet tall. And I'm just like...
What? 7 feet tall?
I'm such a shorty.
You got the short end of the stick.
I never in my life, really, in spaces, do I usually feel that short. But at family, anything, I'm like, I'm so small. Yeah. It's just looking up to talk to people is pretty amusing for me because I don't do it.
I haven't had to do that in a long time.
Right.
I talk down to everyone.
Exactly. That's normally my interactions with people, and here I am being like, wow, 5'10", and I'm just not making the cut. On the basketball team, man, I would be the first off the team, I think, just because I'm like, I can't compete. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. But it's okay. It's okay, because the thing is, like, my family likes to make short jokes, and then I just take it, you know? Because I'm like, 5'10" is not that short, people. It's fine.
I mean, I love making short jokes.
There you go. And I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't take the flip side. Like, my partner at 7 feet always has people staring. Like, we'll walk by and people will be like, and you're like, okay. And then every time we're out, there's always some guy who's like 6'5", who's like, hey, bro, like, I never have to look up at people. Like, hey, and he's like, this is like the 7th time this has happened today. Like, hey, congrats, bro. Like, I don't know what to say to that. Like, people want to take pictures with him, and he's like, okay, like, I guess. So, you know, I'll take my 5'10"ness because poor guy has to deal with a lot. He's a good sport, but I'm like, yeah, that's not what I want in my life.
Would you rather be 5'8" or 6'7"?
That's such a good question because I feel like being decently tall is like a part of my like identity, and like being athletic is so fun. And since I have a partner who would still technically be taller than me if I was 6'7", I'm gonna go with 6'7".
6'7" is Johnson 6'7"?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
All right. Now this is my favorite part of the show.
Yes.
You might know why this is. This show is called Tasty Treats with Teachers. You're excited? Yes. I talked to you a while ago, and I asked you what food would you like. Do you remember what food you asked for?
I think you said chocolate chip cookies.
Okay. I went and I one-upped that. I have homemade chocolate chip cookies. Stay here.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. You gotta show it off.
Yeah.
On camera, you know.
We'll get a zoom in on there.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Oh,
So
they
let's
smell so good.
taste them together. Here you
Okay,
go.
good.
I have been snacking on these. I'm gonna be honest. All right.
Good. Oh, that's like a brownie, but and cookie. Oh, that's so good. Do you have a recipe?
I do.
Okay, good.
I might link it.
Okay. We may need to.
I might have to send it to you.
Please.
You know, these are
Please,
really good. Oh. Wow. They're so chocolatey.
Do you hand make all of the treats on Treats with Teachers? Nice.
Unless it's like something special, I most likely will at least make homemade all of it. The last one, go check out the interview with Mr. Widmark. I'll link that somewhere over here. Because I make cupcakes and the universe rates them. So go check that out. But speaking of rating, on a scale of Galapagos turtle to dog, what do you rate these?
Is the turtle the low end?
The turtle is the low end.
How is the turtle the
I'm
low
just
end?
going like speed-wise.
Oh, okay. Then these are definitely will be a Aussie dog, the
An
fast
Aussie.
ones,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
a collie.
Got you.
Yes.
Greyhounds, I think.
There
are the
you
fastest
go.
dogs.
Yes,
There you
absolutely.
I
This is a
actually-
greyhound on the
go.
scale.
This is a greyhound on the scale of Galapagos turtle to dog. That, you know what? That is high praise.
It is.
That is very high praise.
The highest.
I'm very thankful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.